is a presentation of the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.
All roads lead to Little John. The Clemson Tigers, bolstered by the nation's stingiest defense, have risen to the upper echelons of the ACC, and today look to keep it going at home against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. A very pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Bob Rathman, Corey Alexander, a pleasure to have you with us. This Clemson team is 3-1 in the ACC, Corey, and they have confounded the experts.
And Brad Brownell, ACC Coach of the Year candidate early in the season, for what he's done here, especially at Little John. Their defense is tremendous, the best in the country as far as points allowed.
And our matchup today features two young men who are vying for all conference awards, KJ McDaniels of Clemson and Cody Miller-McIntyre for the Deacs.
And both of these young men leading their teams. KJ McDaniels, a huge outing here against Duke, 24 points, 10 rebounds, and always a highlight slam. For Cody Miller-McIntyre, the game winner against NC State, going full court, putting the pressure on the Wolfpack defense and finishing through contact to give his Demon Deacons a win.
And that leads us to our 4 keys to the game.
And for Wake Forest, it's just that. Stay in attack mode. They have to get inside the paint and get to the free throw line where they're the best in the ACC. On the other side for Clemson is just the opposite. They have to control the paint, keep Wake Forest out of the painted area, more importantly, dominate on the boards and not give Wake Forest any extra opportunities.
The Demon Deacons looking for that breakthrough win on the road today. A Clemson team that's looking to stay hot at home before they head out for 5 of 6 away from Little John. Stage is set. Wake Forest and Clemson coming up next.
BB&T, official bank of the ACC, member FDIC. By Food Lion, official supermarket of the ACC. By Toyota, official corporate champion of the ACC. By Geico, official corporate champion of the ACC. And by AT&T, exclusive wireless provider of the ACC.
Ready to go with ACC basketball from Little John. Here's a look at our Food Line starting lineups this afternoon. And for the Deacons, Devin Thomas, Corey, is a guy that is going to, of course, be expected to rebound and help out on the offensive end.
And Devin Thomas is the emotional leader for the Deacons.
And for the homestanding Clemson Tigers, Rod Hall, who has improved as an offensive player over a year ago, still very important with his ball handling and point guard duties.
And Rod Hall had 4 turnovers against Virginia Tech in their last time out. Very uncharacteristic of him. He'll be looking to right the ship as far as leading his team here at home at Little John Coliseum.
The Clemson Tigers and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons ready to go here at Little John Coliseum in South Carolina as the lights come up inside here at Little John. We get set for this particular game. Jeff Bizdelik is the head coach of the Deacons. His ball club has played great at home, looking to break through on the road. Overall, 2-2 in the ACC and 12-5 in all games. For the Clemson Tigers, Brad Brownell is the head man. Clemson is 12-4, and they're 3-1 in the ACC. And they have done a great job of late, winning 2 road games at Boston College and at Virginia Tech. And the Tigers looking to make it 3 consecutive wins today to validate those Duke and Virginia Tech victories. Les Jones is our lead referee today, working with Ramey Steins and Bill Humes. And we are set to go with a key game in the ACC race. Devin Thomas jumps it up against Landry Noko. Les toots the whistle. The ball's in the air and ready for basketball. Deacons, first possession. The point man is Madison Jones. Thomas. Tap to the corner. Travis McKay missing. And the Tigers push with Jordan Roper.
And Bob, we'll have to keep an eye on Blossom game. He had a huge game here.
Shot clock hits 10. As Roper works off the high ball screen. Blossom game gives it up. Roper, a long 3. Right at the end of the clock, and the Deacons have it.
And that's one where Blossom had an opportunity really to drive the basketball. He went back toward the defense. Instead of going to his left, he had an opportunity to beat Kavanaugh to the rim, didn't take advantage of it.
Wake and Clemson met once last year. It was on this floor, and the Tigers prevailed 60-44. And Clemson has brought with it a terrific defensive reputation. They create the turnover here. Hall to the wing, and KJ McDaniels. KJ pinned in that double team. Noko fires it cross court. Hall saves it.
Clemson will be deliberate in their offense. They're not going to rush to take the first open shot. They're going to try to get the best shot available.
And this ball is kicked. Shot clock reset to 15. The Deacons with tough road losses at Virginia and at Pitt. But as Brad Brownell was telling us before the game, not too many teams are going to go to Virginia and Pitt and win. Exactly.
Those are 2 tough tasks early in the season to take your young ACC team on the road.
And it is still a young Deacon squad. They start 4 sophomores. Blossom game. And a rebound to Kavanaugh. Madison Jones. Now Devin Thomas trying to go inside. This one trickles to the corner and out of bounds. Travis McKay. So much has been made of Wake's woes on the road. And you look at McKay against North Carolina, had the big night with 16 in the victory over the Tar Heels, but only 13 points over the last 3 games. And if Wake is to break through on the road today, they're going to have to get it from Travis McKay.
Well, they only have one guy that plays that's ever had an ACC road win for the Wake Forest team, and that's Travis McKay. And he was huge in that game. But as a senior, he has the experience to be able to lead them in this environment.
KJ McDaniels misses a three, and our game remains scoreless. Mackay, in that game you talked about, Corey, at Boston College, went for 20 points and 10 boards. Kavanaugh lines it up and knocks in a three.
And that's where he's really improved this year. Of course, talking with Coach Jeff Blisdelic, he talked about, well, all of my 7 freshmen are now 7 sophomores this year, and each one of them has grown as a basketball player. Kavanaugh didn't make many shots last year, although he has a reputation of being a shooter, been much better from behind the arc this year.
Hand check on Madison Jones. It's his first foul. And a shot out of bounds for the Tigers. That three made by Tyler Kavanaugh, his first on the road this season. 3-0 Deeks. Rod Hall's runner. And he draws the foul, and it's on Madison Jones. So that's too early on the Wake Forest point guard.
And that's a veteran play by Rod Hall, understanding that his team is not shooting the ball well from outside and they haven't gotten a quality look. Kind of just putting his head down and getting to the rim, using that strong body, trying to get an opportunity to get to the free throw line. And sometimes you just got to break the seal on this game, get some points on the board.
Rod Hall, an outstanding foul shooter at 78%. Puts that first point up there for the Tigers. Jones has to exit. And Karan Williams, who has been such a bright spot for the Deacons, coming into the game.
Karan, a Midlothian, Richmond, Virginia native, used to come to Corey Alexander basketball camps back in the day.
No wonder he's so good.
Well, I'm glad you said it. I didn't have to.
Couple of free throws for Rod, and it's a 3-2 game. McIntyre got it, angling his body toward the glass and draws the contact.
And this is where Cody Miller-McIntyre is at his best, when he is attacking the basket. And when you look at him, 6'3", 195 pounds, has a great frame and the strength to be able to get the contact and still finish at the rim. He did this early and often against NC State on Wednesday night, and one of the main reasons they were able to walk away from Lawrence Joel Coliseum with the win.
A 5-2 lead for Wake Forest. Hall tries to turn the corner, dribbled the ball off his foot, and it's out of bounds. Now they say it was touched last by the Deeks.
I believe that went off of one of Devin Thomas's foot as Hall was trying to turn the corner on the pick and roll.
Shot clock at 10. And the Tigers turn it.
And that's a rookie mistake for Jaron Blossomgame there. One thing, Bob, that you have to think about as a player, when the shot clock is running down, that's your freedom. The coach is not going to get mad at you for taking a shot. So, hey, go play. Just go out. You do now have the freedom to go out and create a shot for yourself when you don't have that in the first 30 seconds of the shot clock. Blossomgame has to take advantage of that opportunity and really be aggressive attacking Kavanaugh.
Ron Williams, Cody Miller-McIntyre. Mackay. All the Deeks touch. Now Kavanaugh comes to set the screen. Hit that three to start the day. Inside, Thomas with the turn. And the rebound fought for, picked up by Clemson. McDaniels clears, Hall to the wing. And Roper. Another Clemson turnover. Williams connects. Karan Williams, who is averaging double figures on the road for the Deeks, makes it a 7-2 game.
Well, Karan Williams has been a huge energy boost for Wake Forest, not just tonight, but on the season. Doesn't turn the basketball over and gives them a veteran presence on the perimeter to go with all the young guys they have that they're playing.
Roper goes up and draws the contact. The foul on Karan Williams. We come to a timeout, 5 minutes in at Little John. Deeks by 5. 10-game road losing streak in the ACC. Jeff McDell's last and only ACC win came 2 years ago. We talked about it. Travis McKay scored 20, had 10 rebounds, and Wake Forest beat Boston College at Chestnut Hill 71-56. That is the only game the Deacs have won on the road in the conference with Jeff as the head man. But what has to be encouraging today, Corey, is the fact that Wake's off to a good start in the first 5 minutes. Earlier at Virginia, they were down 11-0 and 22-6. Went on to lose that game big. Then they went to Pitt, down 21-10 early, so a different Wake team today at Clemson.
And also Wake Forest getting the job done defensively. Clemson 0 for 3 from the field right now, only scored their points at the free throw line, where Jordan Roper adds that total. But one of the things for Jeff Zdelic and his Wake Forest Demon Deacons defensively is where they've really struggled on the road, but off to a good start here this afternoon in Little John Coliseum.
Jordan Roper averages 9 points a game for Clemson, an 84% foul shooter, puts them both in. Clemson still looking for its first field goal. All their points at the line, a 7-4 game, and now we've got Roper with a push on Williams. First on Jordan, and it will be side out of bounds for the Deacons. Wake coming off that big win over NC State on Wednesday. Cody Miller-McIntyre's run to greatness at the end hit the game-winning shot. The Deacs prevailed 70-69 against their arch rivals. They've beaten North Carolina and NC State at home. They'll get Duke at Joel in March. Thomas unable to finish.
That's a shot that Devin Thomas was finishing when you think about that win that they were able to get over NC State.
And check out the three-pointer. Jambo with his 4th of the year, and Clemson has tied the game.
And that's one of the things where Clemson really has been surprising. They've gotten great play out of their young front court players, and I think that's what most people didn't expect for them to be able to get this year. You knew about Rod Hall and KJ McDaniels, but when you think about what Landry Noko and the front line of Clemson are doing, that's why they've had success.
Nice pass by McKay, but a better block, and it's out of bounds. The ball belongs to Wake Forest with 9 on the shot clock. I must say, I did not have Jambo in the pool for the first Clemson field goal of the game.
I don't think you were alone in that one, but I'm sure Brad Brownell was happy to see him be able to put one through.
4 seconds, 3. Cody's got to go, rises up from 3. Back iron rebound comes to KJ McDaniels. Tigers look to push. Pull up is at the back of the iron by Filer. Clemson still struggling at 1 of 5 overall.
I believe that shot was a little quicker than what Brad Brownell wants to see from the Tigers.
Backdoor cutting, McKay. And again, the Deacons denied at the rim, but on the second chance, Travis puts in his first 2.
And I think that's the difference in Travis McKay this year compared to years past. Travis McKay 2 years ago was a top 5 in the ACC in scoring, but he was getting a lot of his points by attacking the rim, offensive rebounding. This year he's become more of a jump shooter, and I think it's really affected his ability to score.
Defending KJ McDaniels. KJ, second chance. And a travel is called on McDaniels.
Travis McKay throughout his years in the ACC has been one of the best offensive rebounders. You can see him back at it here, gathering his own miss and finding an opportunity to finish at the rim. Wake Forest wants to see more of that. Those are energy and effort plays, and as a senior, that's one of the ways that Travis McKay can lead this team through example.
And with that basket, Travis McKay scores his 1,500th point in a Deacon uniform.
And when you look at his numbers when it's all said and done, of course, 1,500 points now and over 750 rebounds. Statistically, he'll go down as one of the better Wake Forest players in history.
Short clock for the Deacs. Kavanaugh had it blocked.
Well, you have to credit the crowd here at Little John Coliseum for those 2 points. I'm sorry, for that defensive stop.
And now we've got an offensive foul. So there is the note on McKay, the 20th Deacon with 1,500 career points.
On the previous possession, the Little John faithful counted down with eight seconds left on the shot clock. They basically fooled Tyler Kavanaugh into thinking that he only had 1 second to get that shot off, and Clemson was able to come up with a stop because of it.
Nice drive to the hole, but denied at the rim. Adalamoto. And a foul on Wake.
Clemson doing a great job securing their defensive rebounds. You see Adalamoto, Aaron Browntree, Kavanaugh, they're attacking the offensive glass of Wake Forest. But other than the Mackay putback, Clemson has done a very good job securing their defensive rebounding.
One of the problems the Deacons have had, of course, in ACC play is the board work. They are 15th out of 16 in offensive rebounding. 9-7 Wake. Filer caught in the paint, but gets rid of it to McDaniels. KJ looking for his first points. Back out front, Adonis Filer, 10 on the shot clock. Filer takes a leaping leaner and banks it in.
Filer bailed himself out there, picked up his dribble in the middle of the paint. However, Wake Forest defenders going to his teammates instead of keeping Filer away from getting a shot at the rim.
Kavanaugh gets help in Roundtree. A tie game at 9. Kavanaugh inside the ring. McDaniels has it, and the Tigers come away. Splitting the defenders. Filer turned it over, carried the basketball, and the turnover gives it back to Wake when we return. 10:51 to play here in the first half with our score: Clemson 9 and Wake Forest 9. Let's take a look at the AT&T Fast Analysis in our first half tonight. And KJ McDaniels and Devin Thomas going at it. Neither have scored.
So when you think about it, these guys are at the top of the scouting report. Clemson knows how much better Wake Forest is when Devin Thomas is effective. And, of course, everybody knows when KJ McDaniels gets going for Clemson, they can be a handful. So both coaches doing a great job right now taking the opposing stars out of the game.
We should say that McDaniels has contributed in other ways. He's got 6 rebounds already in this first half, and he is the Tigers' leading rebounder at 6.9 per game.
Well, that's the one thing I love about KJ McDaniels. Regardless as to whether he's scoring points or not, he continues to play defense and rebound the same ways. And even though he's become a much better scorer and kind of like a star in the league right now, he plays the same way. He hasn't changed. He's not a diva. He still attacks the glass and does the same things that's made him the good player that he was in the past.
Cody Miller-McIntyre for the Deeks. Travel. Boy, these two teams, Corey, are flat out digging in at the defensive end.
That's what we're going to say anyway. We're going to talk about them being defenders. We're not going to talk about the lack of offense we've seen here so far this afternoon. But, you know, Clemson's a great defensive team. Wake Forest does not have the reputation of doing it, but they've matched the energy for Clemson,
yes, they have.
At least this afternoon.
And they create a turnover. Roundtree takes it home. Aaron Roundtree off the deflection by Karan Williams.
That's one thing you're for certain to see. When Aaron Roundtree comes in the game, he's going to bring energy, he's going to bring effort and get the job done defensively. Still a little limited in his scoring ability right now, but Coach Bisdelic loves his ability to disrupt the other team's offense.
Here's Filer. I don't think he got away with a travel on that jump stop, but we move on. Blossom game, good hands by the Deeks, and they just forced Clemson into its 7th turnover of the first half. That's a low turnover team. Clemson commits only 11 per game on average. Now to the wing, and Cody Miller-McIntyre. Nice drive, better rejection by Noko.
When we talk about most improved players, Noko is definitely one of them. Did you see him get up and down the floor?
Yes, sir, the big man can run.
You see on the other end, Aaron Roundtree getting out in the passing lanes. You have to give Karan Williams a lot of credit for the defensive job he's done there on Rod Hall. Rod Hall is not one to turn the basketball over much at all. But when you see Clemson struggling offensively and you talk about their turnovers, it starts with Rod Hall at the top of the key.
2 free throws for Landry Noko. Closed captioning for ACC basketball is provided by Bojangles, famous chicken and biscuits. It's Bo time. Noko, a 46% free throw shooter. Connecting on his first point. Terrific here last weekend against Duke with 10 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 block shots. One of the reasons that Clemson was able to pull off the upset win, 72-59.
And if you're Brad Brownell, you have to really love the strides that Landry Noko has made throughout this season, especially compared to playing limited minutes last year, having both Devin Booker and Milton Jennings, who played the bulk of the minutes up front for the Clemson Tigers.
Tied at 11. Rod Hall bending at the waist, bringing it over the timeline. Defended by Madison Jones. 2 fouls on Madison early. Followed the Tigers to Pitt on Tuesday. Many will see that game or Notre Dame at Florida State beginning at 8 p.m. Shot clock again draining on the Tigers. It's down to 5. 4. The long 3 is no good by Filer. Rebound Noko. And the foul is coming on the Clemson big man. That is his second, and fouling is a problem. He's already fouled out in 2 games this year.
And they don't have a tremendous amount of depth up front, because when you take Noko out, the production for Clemson's front line does drop off. I think that foul kind of came more so from the standpoint of the fact that 2 Wake Forest players bumped into each other and fell. I don't know if it had as much to do with Noko, but when 2 guys for the same team start flying on the ground, the officials normally are going to assume.
Bad.
Yeah, it really does. They're going to assume there was a foul.
Tied at 11. Thomas on the wing. Adalamoto over the rim. And a whistle from Les Jones. And this foul will go against Blossom Game.
That's his second 15th foul on the Tigers.
I tell you, when Adalamoto attacks the basket, he means business. There's no question about it. People get moving when he starts heading to the rim.
Jete is charged with the foul rather than Blossom Game. And this will send Dalamoto to the line. He's struggled as a foul shooter, but then he stepped up against NC State Wednesday night and won 11 for 14.
And he was big in that game. And you think about not only the job that he did at the line and with his 14 points, but also had a double-double. But more importantly, the job he did defensively defending T.J. Warren, that's the stuff that goes unseen. But T.J. Warren, who leads the ACC in scoring, and really got his numbers, got 22 points, but he had to work so hard to be able to get to that number.
Dalamoto splits the pair. Deeks by a point. Rod Hall feeds to the corner. Roper. And Mackay boards. First half that's being played at a waltz tempo. 8 minutes remaining. And a 12-11 Wake Forest lead.
Coach Bzdelic trusting Madison Jones to be able to stay on the floor with those 2 fouls and not get himself into any more foul trouble.
Clemson has to be thrilled. Only 2 field goals to date, and they're trailing by only 1 point. Shot clock at 7. Williams feeds inside. Thomas strong off the glass.
And a great job by Devin Thomas moving to the right hand, which is his offhand, to be able to finish right there. Had he gone back to his left, the Clemson defenders would have blocked the shot. Great presence of mind to get the right hand going to put the ball in the glass.
Deeks by 3. KJ McDaniels has found the going rough offensively here in the first half. Roper whips it. Josh Smith puts it up and in. First bucket of the afternoon for Josh, and a 14-13 game.
And Jordan Roper has to get a lot of credit for attacking the paint and, more importantly, keeping his head up, finding the shooter, Josh Smith, on the perimeter.
Deeks throw it away. A low post pass to nowhere. Clemson running, and a foul. A nice job by DeMarcus Harrison to get the defender in the air, and it brings us to a timeout. 6 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in our first half. The Deacons on top of Clemson by 1. Tuesday takes us around the ACC to check in on conference action. Several final scores in the league today. Virginia got out to a big lead early and held off Florida State 78-66. North Carolina had its difficulties with BC but ended up winning by a fairly substantial margin. Miami goes and wins at Georgia Tech 56-42. Jim Larinaga continues to do just a fantastic job rebuilding that Hurricane team.
Absolutely. You think about losing the 6 seniors that Miami lost last year after winning the ACC championship, and you know, right now they're not winning as many games as they would like to win, but they're involved. They're always in the mix, and that matchup zone has a lot to do with it. Coach Larinaga making that change after 40 years of coaching, making a change to go to a zone.
Speaking of zones, Syracuse with that early lead in Pitt, 19-15, as the top 2 teams in the ACC go head-to-head. Thomas. And a rebound to Josh Smith. 15-14 Tigers. Hall had it blocked out of bounds. The ACC.com/social hub is your source for the latest ACC buzz on social media. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to tag your basketball tweets and photos with the hashtag ACCMBB. The ACC.com/social hub, your official ACC social media source. Oh, right off the rim. McDaniels couldn't follow on a foul.
I'll tell you this, and you have to give Clemson great credit for that, because in their shoot-around this morning, Coach Mike Winnicki talked about the fact that Devin Thomas did not play screens well as far as when he got screened. And right there, they got an immediate opportunity underneath out of bounds off the fact that Thomas did not play well. Josh Smith unable to finish it, and KJ McDaniels unable to finish a slam dunk, but they still get another opportunity in the 2 at the free throw line simply because of paying attention to the small details from shoot-around this morning.
First 2 points of the game for KJ McDaniels coming at the 6:10 mark of the first half. Clemson now has taken a 3-point lead at 17-14. And their free throw shooting, a big reason why the Tigers are now 8 of 8 at the line. Cody Miller-McIntyre backs it out for the Deeks. Wants to drive, takes the bump, and banks it in.
Very similar to the game winner that he made against NC State right there, using that strong body. And as you said, taking the bump, but still having the presence of mind to get it up on the glass with a very soft touch.
17-16. Roper off the bounce, and the lefty connects.
And that's a welcome sight for Clemson. They need to see Jordan Roper put the ball in the basket. His role on this team is to score. He gives them that shooter, but more importantly, hasn't been playing with a lot of confidence over the last couple of games. Good to see him get going.
5:20 remaining, first half. Tigers by 3. Cody, good again. Up to 6.
Cody Miller-McIntyre, one of the most improved players in the ACC last year. And he's one of those guys that we watched last year. And you see his physical attributes, and he's got the skill level, and you say, this kid, if he puts the work in, is really going to be good. And he did that this summer.
Rod Hall had it blocked by Thomas. Cody steps through, can't lay it in. Tip, Thomas keeps it alive. To the corner, Hall saves. Out to Roper, and the Tigers are running. Smith, foul, hit on the arm. Cody Miller-McIntyre with his first.
And you see Clemson and Wake both battling on the boards, and I will have to say, at this point, I'm a little disappointed that Jordan Roper did not throw the lob to KJ McDaniels. I kind of get excited when I see KJ McDaniels running in space, but Jordan Roper made the right play. Wake Forest defenders are running back, not allowing McDaniel to get the ball, and because of it, they get 2 free throws for Josh Smith. The question is, can he capitalize at the free throw line?
We saw KJ give him the sign to lob it, and I'm wondering if Jordan maybe missed the sign.
If I weren't on the microphone, I would have been yelling, throw it! For those who haven't seen KJ McDaniel, he is exciting in the open court, no question about it.
Sidi Jete coming in for the Tigers. 4.5 to play here in this opening half. And a 20-18 Clemson lead. From the wing, Mackay comes up empty. KJ McDaniels. Harrison gets it back. Now McDaniels with the shot clock at 15. Drops it, picks it up. Rebound comes to Thomas.
Right now, a lid on the basket for Clemson. 11 of their 20 points has come from the free throw line, so they haven't really been able to get much going offensively, but they have been very aggressive attacking the basket, and because of it, they hold a 2-point lead here at home.
Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. Our score here at Tigertown, Clemson 20 and Wake Forest 18. The ACC and your local Toyota dealers are unlocking the ACC archives. You can relive over 90 classic basketball games all for free. Today, we look back on one of the great wins in Clemson history, their 1996 upset of Dean Smith in North Carolina. Greg Buckner slammed home the game-winning basket with 0.6 seconds remaining to give Clemson a shocking ACC tournament victory. Visit the ACC.com/vault, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Of course, one of our topics of discussion going into next week will be Clemson heading to Chapel Hill, where I have no idea how long the drought is now.
It's just an open.
But, you know, this Clemson team, of course, with their defense, I think they have a chance to win any time out because they can defend anyone. And from that standpoint, where North Carolina has struggled this year, even at home, you know, Clemson has to be confident about his chances to go in there.
3.5 to play in the first half. Deacons out of the timeout. Kavanaugh flips it in. Now to Kavanaugh with his second field goal, 5 points, and the game is tied at 20. Marcus Harrison gives it up. Filer on the wing. Shot clock at 15. McDaniels hangs, can't hit. Rebound coming to Mackay.
Aaron Roundtree presents a long defender for KJ McDaniels. Kind of takes away a little bit of the athletic ability of McDaniels simply because Roundtree has such long arms and is a great defender.
Kavanaugh. And that was blocked on the way up. And a foul coming against the Deeks and Roundtree.
Well, one thing, when you're playing against Clemson and you go to the basket, you have to be aware of 32 because KJ McDaniels flies out of nowhere to come up with that block shot. His athletic ability is unreal. He's gotten to the point now, talking to Coach Brownell, where That time he was unable to do it, but he doesn't just block the shots. He just pretty much grabs them out of the air at this point simply because he can get a block shot and similar to a rebound and start to break all in one possession.
He almost caught that one.
He was trying to catch it, no question about it. He was trying to catch it. He didn't even want to give Wake Forest an opportunity to come up with the basketball, but fortunately for Clemson, they get fouled off of it, an opportunity for 2 more free throws where they've done the majority of their damage this afternoon.
Adonis Filer with that clutch 3 at Virginia Tech earlier in the week to help cement the Tigers with that road win. Puts Clemson on top 22-20. 2.5 remaining in the first half. A tipped ball by Filer. Deacons will have 17 seconds.
Well, when you can think about the fact that you are 4 for 16, 4 for 17 from the field, and you have 7 turnovers, and yet you have a 2-point lead, you have to thank the free throw line for that one. But that's exactly where Clemson is right now. Wake is making more shots, but only 1 free throw to their credit.
CMM off the line, and a good job by Devin Thomas to reach in and tie up Jeté, and the arrow gives the basketball to Clemson.
Devin Thomas continuing to pursue the basketball, and he does a lot without the ball, and he puts so much pressure on Clemson defensively. And this may seem to be a small thing, but that tying that basketball up gives the possession arrow back to Wake Forest heading down to the end of the half.
Yeah, it gives his team an extra possession. KJ McDaniels looking, rises up, knocks it down.
He's so improved as a shooter right now, and to the point to where opposing teams are now crowding him to take away the jump shot. But he's confident in his ability to shoot the basketball. You know, in comparison to last year, he was pretty much more of an athlete, but he's really playing much better with the ball in his hands, as is this young man, Kevon Williams, who's able to come over and knock down a three-pointer. He's been a spark for Wake Forest, now his second field goal of the game. But he's a guy that they trust to have the basketball in his hands, especially at crunch time.
Karan leading the Deeks in threes made. That's his 39th of the year. 24-23 Clemson. Final minute of the first half as Filer steps through, down the lane, lays it in.
And that's just a great individual move by Adonis Filer. In my opinion, Filer is the best ball-handed playmaker for Clemson as far as creating his own shot. And you think about when he comes off this pick and roll, he doesn't have much space. Keeps the ball in his left hand, gets to the rim, and finishes with his left. That is a great individual effort right there from Fowler. Chicago kid who has no problem attacking the paint right there, and on that possession met with no resistance from Wake Forest defense.
A question at the table. So Les Jones and Bill Humes over there to check on that. With 59.7 remaining, the Tigers with a 3-point lead at 26-23. Filer, you talked about him, Corey, 6 off the bench for this Clemson outfit today, and he is maturing into quite the contributor. He's shown the ability to hit clutch shots this season. He also is a very good defender, quick feet, can get in position. He's really becoming a key contributor off that Clemson bench.
He is, and with Rod Hall not having a great game, Adonis Filer as the backup point guard, they often play together, but more importantly, Filer does a great job attacking the basket, and I believe they're trying to look at the clock to make sure the clock was stopped at the right time. As you see, Filer gets to the rim, but the clock stopped way beforehand, and I believe that's what the officials are checking out, what the clock should actually be set on as of right now, but because, of course, there was about a 2-second gap right there where the clock stopped, but play can still continue.
We are 57.9 seconds away. The Hardee's halftime report. Highlights from the Florida State-Virginia game from earlier today, as well as stats, analysis, and much more here from Clemson. A very busy Saturday in the ACC. And Virginia flexing its muscles at home today against the Seminoles.
Virginia moving to 4-1 in the ACC right now. It's starting to look like that team that was picked to finish preseason 4th in the ACC. They struggled in the non-conference schedule early, but since they've gotten ACC play, have really turned it on. There was a conversation between Joe Harris and Tony Bennett where Joe just drove over to the house and basically allowed, Coach Bennett to tell him what it was he needed to see from him this season. And they have picked up. But one thing that cannot go unmentioned as well, the play of Akil Mitchell since Virginia's been in the ACC season has been tremendous.
26-23. Clock was reset to 52 seconds. Cody Miller-McIntyre, terrific one-on-one, and there is Filer to defend. Gets picked off on the screen. They go to the corner, Mackay. Missed it. Ricochets to him. Gets a second chance. The fake. Missed the lay-in. Rebound Deeks. Another attempt inside by Adalamoto and a foul.
Wake Forest competing on the boards right there. 4 opportunities for the Demon Deacons. At the rim, Travis Mackay attacking the basket, unable to finish, but you see Adalamoto continuing to rebound the basketball, and his improvement has been tremendous. Really, since they've started ACC play, he's another one of those guys who stepped it up over the last few games. And one of those sophomores that Coach Bzdelic talks about, these guys are growing up. Now they've been through a few fires. They're understanding how we need for them to play, and they're starting to show the progress necessary.
And keep in mind, this is a Wake Forest team that has been out-rebounded by 12.8 boards per ACC game this year. You wouldn't know it today.
No, you wouldn't, and you wouldn't have known it against NC State as well. It was Adalamoto really with the biggest play of the game, most likely, was grabbing offensive rebound and going right through the chest of T.J. Warren. That fouled T.J. Warren out of the game because, of course, if you have him on the floor for NC State, you're always going to have a chance to win.
Adalamoto got the Don Nelson bounce on that free throw, and it's 26-25 Clemson. 17 seconds. Shot clock is off. Tigers to take the last shot of the half here as Filer works it against Cody Miller-McIntyre. Couple of screens. Now it goes to McDaniels. Back to Filer with 3, 2, Filer. And that's the half. So the Deacons scrambling their way to within 1 of the Tigers here at halftime. A horrible shooting half for Clemson, but they stayed in it with great success at the foul line. Halftime is here with our score, Clemson 26 and Wake Forest 25.
How hot is 99 cents at Wendy's?
No, wait! I said my mouth was on fire.
99 cents has never been hotter with 2 new spicy Chipotle sandwiches.
Now that's better.
Welcome into the Wendy's Halftime Report. I'm Kerry Chow. Coming up, we'll join the ESPN Buzzer Beater Network in progress to keep you up to date with all the action going on today. Buzzer Beater features unlimited live cut-ins, highlights, and analysis from the biggest matchups throughout college hoops. But first, it's time for a Wendy's Wooden Award Watch update, and today we're taking a look at Maryland guard Des Wells. The Terp star showcased a dazzling display of skills this season, averaging 14.6 points per game, 4.9 boards per game, and 2 assists per game. Perhaps the best praise for Wells comes from Coach Mark Turgeon, when a win against Notre Dame said Wells, quote, became a big boy. Not to be confused with a real boy, because that's the plot of Pinocchio. All right, as promised, we'll get you up to date with everything that's going on today as we join the Buzzer Beater Network in progress. Just a reminder that Buzzer Beater is available through participating TV providers and live on Watch ESPN. Enjoy.
All afternoon. And speaking of free throws, when you talk about Jake Odom as a special player, especially in the context of Indiana State where everyone's first name is Larry Bird, Jake Odom needs 4 free throws made. Now make it 3 free throws made, and he'll be the first ever in Missouri Valley Conference history with 500 free throws and 500 assists.
Well, the reason why Indiana State has knocked off their last 3 nationally ranked opponents is because Jake Odom is really, really good and very, very tough.
Now needs 45 more free throws to pass Larry Bird on the all-time list for the Sycamores. Some pretty heady company he's keeping. Cotton in the paint. 5 points for Cotton. 11-point Shocker lead.
I mean, it's night and day in the attack at the basket.
Cotton whistled for his foul.
What's impressive, Len, is you talked about basically the opportunity for Wichita State to prove that they belong as the number 5 team in the country and a potential number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Indiana State is 14-3. They have 2 losses. They lost both of those games by 1. They avenged one of those losses with a convincing win over Belmont, and they won at Notre Dame. This is a quality opponent in Indiana State.
And Odom had 25 and 23 in the 2 games they played against Belmont earlier this year.
And this is the opportunity to make a national case for themselves with regard to Wichita State. I don't think folks have seen them this year, and they might have written off last year as, a phenomenon. But this program is for real.
And maybe a chance for the Sycamores to make the case that this is a 2-bid league in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely. And right now, if you were starting the NCAA tournament today, Indiana State would be one of those teams that would look really good to the committee as a bubble team.
Last shot time. Van Vliet lost it. Carter came up with it. Gant the rebound for Indiana State. And time runs out in the first half. Fred Van Vliet leading all scorers with 9 points. The 5'11 sophomore has his Shockers up 9-31.
Wichita State trying to keep the train rolling. Indiana State off to its best conference start since Larry Bird was a Sycamore, but trailing by 9 at the half. Ole Miss up on the road at South Carolina, a place they haven't won in 13 years.
How did you like that overtime win that Ole Miss had this week? They outscored LSU by 14 points in overtime, and I think that Marshall Henderson and Summers are a pretty solid backcourt, top 3 in the SEC for sure.
Henderson returning from the 2-game suspension to start the SEC season with 25 points and 7 assists in that one. He has 3 points in this one so far.
Anything serious, but they called the foul. If it had not been a foul, it would have been another block shot. Shaw can't convert the free throw. Jalen now 11 out of 14. Aaron Jones and Colby on the floor now for Ole Miss. Williams will check in, and Shaw to that South Carolina bench, and what a run that was for the freshman Jalen Shaw. 9 points for Shaw. Point lead for the Rebels. Henderson. That was a deep 3. Carrera the rebound. Good offensive work. Thornwell attacking the offensive backboard. Takeaway. Here's Carrera, chased down by Perez to the basket. Count it. A chance to tie it up at the line for Michael Carrera.
Hey, this is a really good hustle effort by Carrera right here. Handling the ball with one hand, looking to his left, not knowing he's going to be trailed from the right side. Gets fouled and gets the basket.
Carrera got the free throw to go down, and we are tied at 18. It's a 6-0 run for South Carolina. The first time we've been tied since we threw it up in the air. Summers to the basket. Big collision, offensive foul. The second on Summers.
Let's say one thing. Jarvis Summers has taken it to the rim today. He is not content to stay out there and shoot the 3 or the mid-range jump shot. He wants to get it to the rim. Carrera with a good position to draw that charge.
So Thornwell at 6'5" will run the point. The freshman out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, played his high school ball at renowned Oak Hill Academy.
Hey, one thing, Carrera's brought a lot of energy to the game, hasn't he?
On the way up, we'll head back to the free throw line. Aaron Jones picks up his second foul now. So Jones and Summers both saddled with 2, sit on the bench. Sebastian Saiz about to check back in for Ole Miss, but Carrera will attempt the free throw. 67% on the year. Shot 74% last year at the line.
How about the play off of the bench of Shaw and Carrera so far? I know that anytime that Frank Martin looks down his bench, he feels pretty good putting those 2 guys in there, particularly the way they're playing today. Shaw with a good scoring first half and Carrera with a little bit of everything.
Carrera talking to Perez. Both those guys out of Venezuela.
Neither one of us understood their language right there.
Henderson. Well, that's a tough shot. He took it right at the 6'11", had kept the foul on Carrera. And that'll take us to a timeout. Carrera's brought some energy. Helped this South Carolina team to a 2-point lead. First lead of the afternoon.
Chris Hasselton McCormick with a Capital One studio update from Utah. The Utes going up to the Lon Wright acrobatic play there, and then Wright, nice jump step to the cup. Later in the half, Utah up 8, and the Canadian, the kid from Calgary, Darlin Bashinsky, laying her in, and the Utes surprising UCLA so far, 10-point lead at the half.
What happens after the wake-up call is delivered? Kyle Anderson really the only one bringing great effort for UCLA so far. And Utah is slowly making some growth process. If you look at their production so far, Brandon Taylor has been their best player. He's got 10 points.
Elsewhere, big one in the Big 12, Oklahoma State and Kansas, and they are rock chalking all over the place in Lawrence. Nadir Tharp setting up Tariq Black. After the play over Brian Nash, Jamari Traylor getting into a little bit of a scuffle. Technical fouls issued to Traylor and Markel Brown. Refs tried to get things under control in Oklahoma State. Trying to get things under control right now, down a dozen.
How do you like the performance by Andrew Wiggins, Chris? Did you hear these numbers? In their last outing against Iowa State, 17 points, 19 rebounds. Wow.
And it was a quiet 17 and 19, too. Watching the game, you wouldn't know. You're like, where's Andrew Wiggins? And then you look at the stat sheet. That's the sign of a great player when he can do it quietly.
And look at Casey Prather for Florida, 16 points. But Auburn's come back. They were non-essential in the beginning part of this game. Florida is in a position where they have to be able to bring great effort. As the number 7 team in the country, every time out, they are going to get their opponent's best battle.
4 top 10 teams, as you see there, in close games as we speak. Gonzaga not in the top 25, lost a couple games ago at Portland. 15-3 on the year, but 5-1 in West Coast Conference play, leading the conference, their usual position.
Big losses from last year with Kelly Olynyk leaving for the NBA and Elias Harris, elite forward, playing professionally overseas. This is definitely a guard-driven Gonzaga team.
10-point lead at Loyola.
We hope you enjoyed the fast action coverage from ESPN's Buzzer Beater Network. We will continue to provide the service Wednesday nights and all day Saturday throughout the college basketball season. That'll do it for the Wendy's Halftime Report. I'm Kerry Chow. Enjoy the second half.
Back inside Littlejohn for the start of our second half, 26-25. KJ McDaniels, Mr. Do Everything for the Tigers, and rather quiet in the first half.
Well, he's done the job on the glass. 9 rebounds, 3 of them on the offensive end, but only 1 for 5 from the field right now, and you can tell Wake Forest is paying special attention to KJ McDaniels, not giving him any opportunities. That's one where he normally would finish and find himself on all the highlight reels. But Wake Forest has bottled KJ McDaniels up. He's now become the focus of the scouting report, and he's going to have to be able to fight through that.
For the Tigers, we talked about Filer coming off the bench with 6. Roper gave them a couple of free throws and a field goal. For the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, Cody Miller McIntyre had a half a dozen, missed a free throw. Kavanaugh hit a 3 to start the day and ended the half with 5. And Karan Williams, who has been just nothing short of a savior for Jeff Vizdelik, this graduate student transfer from Robert Morris, had 5 in that first half, and he has been remarkable. Not only is he giving the Deacons a shot in the arm offensively, he has committed only 4 turnovers the entire season, and none in 91 ACC minutes coming into this game. Wake Forest ball to start the second half. Kavanaugh works it inside, has it, fly swatted away by Noko.
And that's one right there. Noko maybe could have caught this one and just kept it in play, took it to the other end. But you see, KJ McDaniels gets a hand on the basketball. That's one right there for Noko, especially as difficult as it is to get possessions in this game. Maybe grab that one and just take it down to the other end.
Rainbow for Miller McIntyre, rebounded by Filer, or rather by Roper. Roper takes it up and in. Nice aggressive move.
That was, and also attacking the basket, not settling for the jump shot. Jordan Roper able to come up with 2 points. And that's, if you're Brad Brownell, you want to see more aggressiveness from him and searching for ways to score, because that is his role on the team. They need him to score points.
And they hold inside against Clemson. And that will be on Jaron Blossom game. And that would be his first foul of the proceedings. Clemson leading it 28-25. Entry to Kavanaugh. They go back to the big fella. He controls it. Out of the double team, finds Thomas. Get to that strong left hand and lays it in.
And one thing you'll see with Devin Thomas, he's not the big man that's going to jump over top of everyone. But he uses his body very well and understands angles and how he can get the ball to the rim and avoid getting a shot blocked.
Noko throws the hook, but Thomas is there to board it. And now the Deacs can take the lead. This Wake Forest team has lost 4 straight to Clemson, 3 in a row here at Littlejohn. And now we've got a foul coming on Clemson. And it's going to be Blossom game.
Foul was called the Jaron Blossom game. It's his second. Tigers second.
As you see, Devin Thomas finding the open spot, but because he's not a vertical guy, he's going to get his body into Landry Noko, shield him off so Noko can't get an opportunity to block his shot, and uses the angle underneath the rim very well to be able to finish.
Kavanaugh spins, got it back and put it in. Tyler Kavanaugh was 7.
And the Clemson faithful are unhappy. They feel as though Kavanaugh got away with the double dribble on that possession.
29-28, the Deacons go up by 1. Rod Hall is blocked by Madison Jones. That's the 3rd on the Wake Forest point guard.
And Madison Jones really hasn't been able to get involved in this game very much, simply because he's been in foul trouble. We got 2 early fouls in the first half, and now an early foul in the second half takes him back to the bench. Karan Williams comes in for him. And one of the things, and maybe one of the reasons we haven't seen a very aggressive game from Cody Miller McIntyre, is because when he and Karan Williams are in the game together, Cody Miller McIntyre becomes the point guard. But he's the off guard with Madison Jones, and maybe it's affecting him from a scoring standpoint.
Boy, look at Roper get to the hole.
Nothing has affected Jordan Roper, especially in the second half. He's been extremely aggressive, and it seems as though Clemson is going out of their way to get him opportunities at the rim.
30-29. Tigers by 1. A Deacon team that is victory-starved down the road, batted down by Noko, back to Thomas. Bounce inside Kavanaugh. That's rejected. They're going to score the basket on a goaltend and a foul on the Tigers.
I don't think that was a goaltend. I mean, just from this angle, you think when you see it, and this is a tough angle to see, but it looks as though K.J. McDaniel got that basketball going up. This is a better angle as we see this when the ball still is going on its upward flight. When K.J. McDaniel catches it, I believe that was incorrect. And the ball actually can still hit the backboard, and you can get it afterward as long as it's not on its flight to the rim. So I believe they may have got that one wrong right there, but of course, the guys out there wearing stripes have the toughest job in this game. It's easy for me to sit over here with the ability of replay to be able to determine it.
Blossom game with his third foul. And Tyler Kavanaugh has 10 points for Wake Forest.
And Wake Forest has come out in the second half with the intent of posting up Jaron Blasingame.
He'll take it up and in.
And that was a great job. And although Blasingame gets the 2 points, the effort by K.J. McDaniel to really save that basketball, keep it in bounds to Blasingame was the key.
Game tied at 32. Thomas missed the shot. And this foul will go against Cody Miller-McIntyre, his second. Just a note on Kavanaugh giving the Deacons 10 points today. It's the first time in his 2-year Wake career that he's reached double figures in an ACC road game.
And Jaron Blasingame is really like a small forward. But what has happened is Wake Forest is trying to post him up, and now Blasingame out of the game. Josh Smith back in because Kavanaugh will not have an advantage on the post against Josh Smith.
Roper looking for his offense here in the second half. And Jordan Roper has scored 11.
They say it only takes one to start a streak. Jordan Roper believes him. And at this moment in the second half, he's found a way to get it going offensively for Clemson.
35-32. Cody Miller-McIntyre on the drive. High glass, no. Rebound, Deeks. Thomas muscles it up. Can't score. Tipped up and off. And rebounded by Smith. Rod Hall in transition. Roper feeling it. Rebound, McDaniel. KJ puts it home. Timeout, Wake Forest. As Clemson jumps off to a 5-point lead. Jordan Roper from downtown. And KJ McDaniels working his magic on the inside.
So what's better?
Needed scoring punch from Jordan Roper here to start the second half. Already 4 field goals. Clemson only has 6 field goals in the first half, but he's done it attacking the basket. And one of the things for a guy that's a shooter, when you get an opportunity to get to the rim and get an easy one, it opens up things on the outside. And Jordan Roper has really gotten it done here to start the second half for the Clemson Tigers.
And Jordan Roper nailing that three. He's been off on his three-point shot, just 5 of his last 21, but you can tell this second half his offensive rhythm has returned, and the Tigers have a 5-point lead, their biggest of the game. Tough go of it for Devin Thomas, and he's fortunate that Clemson was last to touch.
I'll tell you one thing is you can't underestimate the ability of Landry Noko really to be able to defend, moving his feet. As you see both these guys getting up close and personal to the camera right there, trying to come right into your living room at home.
Kavanaugh. And that was deflected into the net. And Kavanaugh now has a dozen.
Tyler Kavanaugh having we talked about Roper's second half. Kavanaugh doing the same, really putting Wake Forest on his back right now, scoring the basketball, being that offensive punch that they need in the first half.
Josh Smith. And a run-out rebound for Cody Miller-McIntyre. This is a crucial spot here for the Deacs. Clemson throwing that punch by Roper, and the Deacs looking to respond. They got the bucket from Kavanaugh. Can they make it 2 in a row? Tyler puts it on the deck against Smith. Shot clock at 10. Williams gives it up. Devin Thomas gets closer. Right hand lays it in.
And that's the way you play it. Devin Thomas didn't settle for the jump shot, and he also wasn't fooled by the crowd counting down the shot clock. The crowd got one in the first half with Tyler Kavanaugh. Devin Thomas not settling and is able to get 2 points for the Demon Deacons because of it.
KJ McDaniels now faces, spins, throws the left hook and gets it.
Wow, that's special there. You don't see many 6'6" small forwards turning over their opposite shoulder when they're right-handed shooting the left-handed jump hook on the baseline, but it just shows you how much work KJ McDaniel has put into his game over the summer.
Teron Williams. Now off the Thomas screen. Devin trying to deal it inside to Kavanaugh. And the Tigers were the last to touch. 10 on the shot clock when we come back at timeout at Little John.
Well, we talked about both K.J. McDaniel and Devin Thomas and how much attention was being paid to them in the first half with their struggles, but both of them have gotten it going here in the second half. Thomas now with 6 points and 5 rebounds. K.J. McDaniels another double-double already in this game. So the two stars that we were tracking early in the game have really started to get it going here in the early part of the second half.
K.J. McDaniels with his 4th double-double of the campaign. And interesting comments from his head coach yesterday, Brad Brownell, about how K.J. McDaniels has that inner drive and determination to be a great basketball player.
He does, and one of the things, in my opinion only, K.J. McDaniels, I'm hoping he stays in school after this year, but he has the chance to be an NBA first-round pick, you know, when he's ready to come out. I don't think that's this year, but he continues to improve, and if he improves anywhere near as much this summer as he did last, he's a first-round pick.
Noko banks and hits. Andrew Noko makes it 41-36. Wake Forest came out of that timeout, and they set the lob up perfectly to Adalamoto, and wouldn't you know it, the pass hits the rim, and no chance.
Yeah, but that's a risky play coming out of the half, and I understand that you want to get your team some excitement, but when you're down, that's a risky play. That's a little safer right there, getting the ball in Karan Williams' hands, because when he touches it, good things normally happen as he knocks down the 3.
And Wake Forest is back within 2. Williams now with 8 points, and that's his 2nd three-pointer. Rod Hall. Noko right to the rim.
You know, I would like to say that Brad Brownell found a gem in Landry Noko, but I can tell you they put the work in with this young man, and it is starting to really show. Landry Noko, especially in ACC play, has truly picked up his production. He's been getting it done on the defensive end, but what he's doing offensively is tremendous.
And a foul on Roper. Off the ball, that will be his 2nd.
And you see Noko getting it done in a number of areas right here, going to the jump hook through the contact. But as you see, his skill to be able to avoid the trap coming and finish at the rim, and Noko really getting the job done, becoming a 3rd scorer for this Clemson team. And, of course, they need as many points as they can get. But if they can throw the ball into him and get a basket, that's always a bonus.
Adalamoto flipping it up and in. And he's got 5 points now. Again, the Deacons are within a basket at 43-41. Hall with a fake. Now gets it inside to Smith, and he missed the lay-in. Adalamoto has it for the Deeks. Wake coming down with a chance to tie this game.
And that's a missed opportunity for Clemson right there. Wake Forest going to the zone defense, and Clemson getting right inside of it exactly as they have practiced this morning in their shoot-around, how they wanted to attack, and they get an easy layup because of it. Josh Smith unable to finish.
Adalamoto spins in on Smith and loses control of the basketball. A timeout at Clemson, 11:50 to go in our second half. It's Clemson 43 and Wake Forest 41. exclusive production of Raycom Sports. Bob Rathman and Corey Alexander back with you from Little John Coliseum in Clemson, South Carolina. A 43-41 game. Both teams struggled mightily offensively in the first half. Different story in the second. Wake Forest shooting 64% in the second half on 7 of 11. Clemson is 8 of 13 for 62% in the second half. Interesting to note, Clemson got to the line 14 times. Corey, in that first half, hit 13. They've yet to go to the line in the second half.
But they're making field goals in this half, which makes it a much more interesting game from the standpoint of they're actually making some shots. So when you look at that, and you really don't see that. One team shoots 33, the other shoots 30 in the first half, and now both of them shooting over 60% in the second half. That just doesn't happen often.
Noko kicks it out to Rod Hall. Rod does not have a field goal. Just a couple of free throws. This pass deflected, ends up in Filer's hands. 10 to shoot. Steps through. Finds Hall in the corner for 3. Madison Jones protects, gives. Now the trailing Adalamoto directs traffic. Jeff Buzdelic in front of the Deeks on that bench. Wants that motion offense to kick in. Here's Adalamoto giving to Madison Jones. And again, the shot clock winding down. Williams, ball in his hands against Hall. Roundtree gives it up. Kavanaugh fires and back irons one. 10:40 remaining. Clemson by 2.
And again, Clemson will be deliberate, making sure they get the right shot instead of forcing anything. They're okay to use the shot clock and force Wake Forest to have to play defense.
Rod Hall. And fouled on the drive. And this will be against Teron Williams. That's his third. For the Tigers, Jordan Roper coming back in. And it's Rod Hall to head to the bench.
Jordan Roper's had a big second half so far. We'll see if he can continue that effort offensively. He's one of the main reasons Clemson's shooting the ball so well.
And we've got a whistle and a timeout for Clemson. The Tigers had started their offense before the referee was ready to hand the ball over. And so when the inbounder finally got the ball, they were so far into their set, it just wasn't going to work, and Brad Barnell took the timeout. Let's take a look at our Haviland defensive shield.
Really, it's Clemson. What they do defensively is they block shots. One of the best shot blocking teams in the ACC, averaging 6.3 per game. Already 6 block shots today, and that's one of the ways they control the paint is when you drive the lane against Clemson, it's not only the guy that's in front of you, but you have to be aware of the help side. And you see they have a number of guys that do it. Landry Noko, KJ McDaniel. These guys really, they cover up the rim, and they simply don't give you any easy looks. And that number is 6, where it really could be 7. That goaltending call was questionable. I believe that should have been a 7th block for Clemson, but it also gave 2 points to Wake Forest.
And an offensive foul. And this, no, I beg your pardon, that is going to be a turnover, a palming violation against Roper, and Clemson commits its first turnover of the second half. 43-41 Tigers, 10-10 to play. Wake Forest trying to validate that home win over NC State and get that elusive ACC road win. Williams for the lead. No, bumps it off the rim, but there is Roundtree. That's rejected by KJ McDaniels. Boy, the one thing that Roper's offense will do is open up things, create some passing lanes and some driving avenues.
I think, in my opinion, Clemson gave up an opportunity right there where they were unable to get transition points off of the KJ McDaniel block. And you see, he doesn't have to be weak side. He blocks shots on his man. That's why KJ McDaniels is the ACC leader in block shots. He can do it as a defender and a help side defender. And unbelievable timing, and of course his athletic ability is off the charts. We talk about that, but there is more to blocking shots than just being a great athlete. The timing is very important, and you see KJ McDaniels, 12 rebounds is a career high for him today. So we talked about it's not always about the scoring. He does all the intangible things that makes him such a good basketball player.
KJ in the corner, 9.5 to go, second half. Tigers with a 2-point advantage. Adonis Filer. 6 first half points, none in the second. McDaniels looking, matched up against Roundtree. Jumps over him and drops it in. Boy, that jump hook with either hand working for KJ today.
It's just his development, and I'm a guy that's really big into improving your basketball skill. His development is amazing to me, just the way that he's really become more confident as a scorer.
A blocking foul coming on Jambo.
KJ McDaniels catches it on the block. He's so patient, doesn't rush right there, decides, okay, if you're going to guard me with one person, I'm going to find a way to get a quality shot. After going to the baseline with the left-hand jump hook the last time he was in the post, this time coming back to the middle with the right-hand jump hook.
8:50 to play. Madison Jones keeps the dribble line, matched against a big, moves in, and stealing the pass is Filer. Against 3, Deeks finds the open man, but an air ball 3 from Roper. Miller McIntyre with that hesitation, bad pass. Deeks saved the possession. Cody can't pull the trigger, and the Deeks will reset. Miller McIntyre, boy, a tough one going in against the 6'10" junior. And the ball will belong to Clemson. KJ McDaniels leading Clemson in virtually every category, but 3 of note: points, rebounds, and blocks. And there are 2 other players, Jabari Parker at Duke and Garrick Sherman at Notre Dame, who also lead their team in blocks, rebounds, and points.
But the difference when you look at those numbers, almost 3 block shots a game for a guy that's 6'6", that is big time right there.
And how about that to go right to the rim and take Roundtree with him. KJ McDaniels with a big second half, 12 points for the game. Clemson leads by 6, and Wake Forest wants a timeout. 7 minutes and 46 seconds remaining. And for the second time here in the second half, the Tigers have a little bit of breathing room.
They've got that momentum going, and of course, Jeff Bezdelik, understanding that, calls the timeout. But one of the things that I'm loving watching is the fact that KJ McDaniels is doing this against one of the best defenders in the ACC. I mean, Aaron Roundtree is a big-time defender. You look at his length, able to move his feet, but you see KJ McDaniels just that much better on that play, getting to the rim, setting the screens, getting himself open, and then understanding how to use his body to be able to finish at the rim. We talked about his athleticism, and people see that all the time, but the substance that he's putting to the style of his game is becoming so vital, and that's one of the main reasons, along with that defensive ability, why this Clemson team is such a surprise this year, because of the development of KJ McDaniel.
Last year, against the Deacons here, he went for 14 points, 9 boards, and had 7 blocks. And Clemson doing a much better job getting the ball to the rim here in the second half, and they've built a 6-point lead.
And I tell you this, Bob, that game you're talking about last year when he did that, I was here, and he had a highlight dunk that it really makes you forget about all the other things that he does. You just talk about that all day, but he does so much on the court.
Adalamoto, nothing but net.
I tell you what, Adalamoto made that shot. That was a bad shot. When you sit there and you think about that long, that's not a good shot. But fortunately, he made that one, and he was given that shot because Wake Forest defenders backed off and dared him to shoot it.
But give the Deacons credit. They have hung in this basketball game here in the second half. Hall kicks. Gets it back from KJ. 15-14 on the shot clock. as we approach the 7-minute mark of the second half.
And Wake Forest answered that run from an earlier run from Clemson, and they were able to do it again here in the timeout.
Chate with the illegal screen, his third foul. 6:58 to play at Little John, and a tough, tight one in the ACC.
A show for the ages here in the second half. Going to the post, using the left hand, getting to the rim, finishing over the tall defender and Aaron Roundtree, back to the post with the right hand, and he's doing it all for the Clemson Tigers here in the second half. And you look, 12 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, a jack of all trades, and a master of even a few in comparison to none. A block shot master, no question about it.
Leads Clemson in virtually every category. And now the Deacs come out of the timeout, trailing here by only 4, 47-43, 6:40 to play. Shot clock at 10. Madison Jones, 7, 6. Travis McKay, short. Ball kicks. Pass inside to Noko. 49-43 Clemson.
Nice play by Jumbo there, not settling for the three-pointer, even though he's shown that he can make that. Putting the ball on the floor and finding Landry Noko able to finish. And it's great when you see the big guys in the interior passing moving the ball that well to each other.
Jones off the Thomas screen. Short clock for the Deacs. Adalamoto. And he's fouled on the baseline by Jumbo.
Jumbo getting the job done offensively, knocking down the three earlier. This time he turns down the three, puts it on the floor, and a beautiful left-handed pass over to Landry Noko. And one thing you can tell about that is Noko was expecting it, which means it's not the first time that it happened.
7 points for Adalamoto. He has gone 3 of 4 at the line in this game. The Deacs trail by 6 with 5:43 remaining in our second half. Closed captioning for ACC basketball is provided by Bojangles, famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time. Adalamoto coming off his first career double-double in the NC State game Wednesday night when he went for 15 points and a career-best 11 rebounds. Hits another one. Great job at the line this week.
He really has, and he's given them that presence in the post. And one of the things Travis McKay has been quiet, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that we've seen the interior players for Wake Forest start to step it up, and McKay really was very effective at the 4 position. But with Kavanaugh and Adalamoto, those guys are really getting those minutes there, which forces McKay to the perimeter, and he just hasn't been the same player on the perimeter.
Oh, halfway in the pipe and out for K.J. McDaniels. That would have been his first three-pointer of the game. That leaves the door open for the Deacs. 5:10 to play. Wake Forest trailing 49-45. Cody Miller-McIntyre. Now to Thomas. Oh, and not looking for the pass, Madison Jones. He flinched and the ball went out of bounds.
Now that goes back to the point where I was making before. When Jumbo made that pass to Landry Noko, he was expecting it. Madison Jones was not expecting that pass at all, which means that that's not one Devin Thomas throws very often. But you still have to see the ball. That was an opportunity right there that Wake Forest missed out on for an easy 2 points.
Rod Hall brings it out front. Now a long three is good. How about Jumbo? That's his second three of the game. 52-45. Biggest lead of the game for the Tigers. Miller-McIntyre on the drive. Saves it. Williams a pump fake. Back inside to Cody. That's no good. Everybody jumps. And a block shot. Deacs have it. 30 seconds to shoot. The shot clock, I believe, was reset in error, but it matters not as Noko comes down with the rebound.
That was an unbelievable defensive possession right there for Clemson. And it started with Jumbo moving his feet and staying in front of Cody Miller-McIntyre, one of the best in the ACC, attacking the basket. Jumbo getting the job done on both ends of the floor, and the energy is just, it starts to get contagious for Clemson defensively.
McDaniels. Now Hall on the drive. Gives it up. Harrison jumps, misses. And look at the effort by K.J. McDaniels. Nearly came up with that ball. He is some kind of fun to watch. 3:29 to go in our game. Clemson by 7. Clemson leads at 52-45. If your last name ends in the letter O, please stand up.
Well, my man Jumbo's getting it done, but Landry Noko is getting it done also. Both those guys on the interior for Clemson have been huge bonuses in the second half. Jumbo knocking down the three-pointer, also making the nice pass, but here stretching the defense, keeping the pressure off of KJ McDaniels, Landry Noko. Jumbo giving Clemson a huge lift. A 3 in the first half, a 3 in the second half, but more importantly, a beautiful pass over to his buddy Landry Noko, and he really has gained the respect and the trust of Brad Brownell here in the second half and is playing significant minutes because of it.
Mali and Cameroon represented. And this Clemson team now putting a vice grip on this outcome. A big trip down the floor for the Deeks.
And that's one thing you can't afford to get down big to Clemson, because what they do defensively, they make it hard for you.
Williams. Rebound Noko. And on his back was Devin Thomas. This is the first foul today on Devin Thomas. A 52-45 game. We've talked so often, Corey, about the Clemson D. Well, Wake Forest has got to answer the call. They're getting to the point in the game now. They've got to get a stop.
Well, and it's very true, because it's so difficult to score on Clemson. So they can, and Clemson will use the shot clock. They'll use 30 seconds off the clock and take their opportunities to score. So one thing you can't do if you're Wake Forest is continue to give Clemson opportunities at the rim, quality looks. They're going to have to get the job done defensively just to get the basketball back.
McDaniels drives in, a block and a foul on round 3. Aaron thought he got all ball, but Stein said a piece of the body as well.
I'm surprised that Clemson went that early, but they get the ball in the hands of their best player, and KJ McDaniels, who has an ISO at the top of the key against a good defender in Aaron Roundtree, but KJ McDaniels just using that body, that length. Good defense. Good defense by Roundtree on that one, but again, it's a difficult play for the officials to call simply because with those big bodies, a lot of times they're shielded away from what happens on that one. But as my man Rasheed Wallace would say, ball don't lie.
McDaniels with the free throw miss. A 12-point, 12-rebound game. Second shot is good. And that pushes Clemson on top by 8. 53-45, 2:47 and counting.
At this point, Wake Forest is going to have to find something to go to where they can get a quality shot. Whether the shot goes in or not, you can't determine that. That's up to the shooter. But they have to be able to go to what is their best set right now to get something against this stingy Clemson defense, because right now, Clemson has them out of sync.
2:40 remaining. Williams comes off the screen. Now it's Miller McIntyre inside to Thomas, creates some space and scores. Timeout, Wake Forest.
That's a good option right there. Devin Thomas hasn't got many good looks in this game, but right there does a great job using his body and shielding away Landry Noko, not allowing him to be able to block that shot. Devin Thomas getting great position. And after the post feed, understanding where the defender is and uses that right hand on the reverse, Landry Noko does the right thing and not fouling Devin Thomas and giving him an opportunity for a three-point play. But Devin Thomas is basically the guy that Jeff Bezdevic felt like they could go to get a basket right there. He rewards his coach for having confidence in him.
A 53-47 lead for the Tigers. Travis McKay not in at the moment, has scored only 2 points in this game today, and that came in that first half of activity. But the senior from Richmond not out there right now.
1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, and 2 turnovers in this game, only 4 rebounds. And Travis McKay's numbers this season are way down from where they were in his first 3 years as an ACC player. And right now, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's moved and playing primarily on the perimeter. But he's going to have to find a way to get more involved in this game, not only offensively, but defensively and rebounding as well.
Ball with a bounce over to Adonis Filer. And this is where the Deeks have to dig down because Clemson is quite content to run the shot clock. Hall gets a screen from Noko. Driving. Didn't like the look. Now McDaniels with 3. Takes it to the hole and jams it in. Boy, this young man has got some juice.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to talk about respect, watch Devin Thomas as KJ McDaniels comes to the rim. Never thinks about jumping. He doesn't want to be on the highlight reel. He gets out of the way. That's what you call respect.
55-47 Clemson. Adalamoto blocked by McDaniels and a foul. His first of the game. And a minute 40 left in the second half.
You watch KJ McDaniel right here and how quickly he gets off the floor and how much higher he is than Adalamoto at the same point that these guys jump. That's how explosive he is. Not a lot of contact on that one. However, again, the officials get blocked off from it, and the foul was called. That was giving one back where KJ McDaniels got a foul that may have been questionable before. But Adalamoto has to take advantage of these free throws, which he's unable to come up with the first one, because Wake Forest is going to have a very difficult time getting the ball back from Clemson, and they have to make sure they get points on every possession. This game is starting to get shorter and shorter for the Deacons.
8 points seems like 18. Second shot good, 55-48 with a minute 40. Wake has got nothing out of the press. Tyler goes through. As Clemson looks to milk that clock, I think Wake might even be scoring in a position where they have to start fouling.
I believe that would be their best case scenario is 2 fouls. They can't allow for 30 seconds just to go off the clock, but at this point they've wasted so much time, they don't have a choice.
Couldn't come up with the ball. Now Clemson will take a timeout with 6 on the shot clock and a minute 11 remaining in our game.
30-second timeout called by the Tigers.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Food Lion, official supermarket of the ACC. By your Carolina Ford dealers. By AT&T, exclusive wireless provider of the ACC. And by Ruby Tuesday, official corporate champion of the ACC.
Wake Forest in a stretch of 5 games out of 7 on the road that began with their contest in Cincinnati against Xavier. They'll stay on the road playing in Blacksburg in their midweek game next week. And Jeff Vizdelik's club has been right there. Clemson has just in the last few minutes been able to stretch this lead out to as many as 8.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, they weren't as aggressive. They've only shot 8 free throws tonight. They don't get to the line, and Wake Forest gets to the line more than anyone in the league, so they weren't on attack trying to get to the rim, maybe respecting the shot blocking presence of Clemson a bit too much.
Filer gets right to the hole. He turned the corner and there was no resistance. 57-48. Final minute. No time to waste for Wake Forest. Cody Miller-McIntyre lets it go. Air ball 3, but Williams is there, and he is able to follow it in. A fortuitous rebound for Karan Williams. And that pulls Wake Forest within 7 with 48.3. You've got to be aware of the shot clock here. And after the ball was fumbled, the Deacon defense, they just gave up the lane.
Well, I guess they felt as though it was going off, but Adonis Filer knew the shot clock in his head. And that's what he does for this Clemson team. He gets them clutch baskets at the end of games. He makes big plays for them, and he's in attack mode constantly. Karan Williams in the right place at the right time, pursuing the basketball, not giving up on the play. But for Wake Forest, it just seems as though when they come out on the road, they're not as aggressive. When you watch them play at home, they're amazing. They play with so much energy, so much emotion, and you don't see that coming into road games, and this is where they need it most.
Coming up Tuesday, On our ACC network stations, most of you will see one of two great ACC games. Some will see the Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking on the Florida State Seminoles, while others will see these Clemson Tigers as they travel north for their first conference game against the Pitt Panthers. Notre Dame, Florida State, or Clemson Pitt Tuesday on your ACC network station. And the last time I peeked at that Pittsburgh score, they had taken a 3-point lead late against Syracuse.
Well, I believe Jamie Dixon, as the coach of Pitt Panthers, has won 6 of his last 8 games that he's played at the Carrier Dome, and he has a 10-4 record against Jim Boeheim. So very few people have had success against Jim Boeheim, but Jamie Dixon is one of those coaches.
Coaches should call Jamie how to figure out that zone. Now the foul is committed by Adalamoto. Clemson will shoot 1-1.
That's his second.
42.6 remaining. Deeks are out of timeouts.
And Clemson, after shooting 14 first half free throws, 0 in the second half, but that's where they can win this game, is at the line. They can carry them home if they're able to finish over these last 42 seconds.
DeMarcus Harrison go to the line for the front end. Mackay back in for Roundtree. Precious few opportunities at the line here in the second half for the Tigers after they really got the lead at halftime thanks to their free throw shooting. Harrison knocks in the first one for his 3rd point. 58-50. 42.6 seconds remaining. Harrison started for these Tigers, but when ACC play began, started coming off the bench. 59-50. Williams. Adalamoto got in. Williams out for 3 and hits. Ron Williams with his 3rd 3 of the game. And that makes it a 2-possession game at 59-53. The foul on Miller McIntyre. The Tigers trying to win their 4th game in their last 5, and you have to hold serve at home, particularly if you're Clemson and you're faced with this for the next 5. And look at this murderer's row that's coming up for Brad Brownell.
They're going to find out what they're made of at this point. This is when the rubber meets the road for the Clemson Tigers. You talk about going to Pittsburgh, to North Carolina, to Florida State. Fortunately, you get a home game against your rival Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and then back out on the road. So when you look at that, it is definitely tough sledding headed for the Tigers.
And back on the road to Syracuse.
Oh, I just forgot about that.
59-53. If the Deeks can hit a 3, we got a ball game. Off the mark by Williams and a foul. The front end was missed, and Williams had a chance to cut it to 3, but now a lot of the pressure is off as foul is committed by Wake Forest.
Still only the 19th foul, so there's still a bonus, 1-1. DeMarcus Harrison for Clemson needs to go take care of his business at the line, at least getting one of these to make a 3-possession game. Nothing sacred in this game anymore. Nothing safe as he does that right now. So now 3 possessions, that's going to be difficult for Wake Forest with only 11.4 seconds. Yeah. 2 possessions, I still think, there's still a chance there.
But Wake had to have that last 3 by Williams. No timeouts, 11.4. Harrison hits the second, and Clemson's on its way to victory. Cody Miller-McIntyre. 3 seconds and the ball out of bounds off Kavanaugh. And the Clemson Tigers will play it in, and that will do it here from Littlejohn. Brad Brownell and the Tigers get their 13th win as they knock off Wake Forest for a 5th consecutive time, 61-53. That's our final score today here at Littlejohn Coliseum. The Deacons lose their 17th straight on the road in the ACC.
planning a meeting? Then consider
We welcome you back to Clemson with our final score, the Tigers 61 and Wake Forest 53. You've been watching exclusive coverage of ACC basketball on the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.